massive thank you to all of you for turning up today, Tower Hamlets. A lot of people thought it was going to be a scary, terrifying place, but it's not. It's just another borough in London, our nation's capital, on English soil. And we should never, ever, ever feel afraid to walk down any street in English soil. This is our country, this is Britain. We have the right to walk up and down any street in any area where we feel and choose. And what we're doing here today, we're sticking two fingers up to the politicians, to Lufthansa, to all the extremist Muslims and extremist leftists, and saying, stuff you, we'll walk down any street we'll like, and we'll keep coming back until we're allowed. Whose streets? Our streets! Whose streets? Our streets! Whose streets? Our streets! Now folks, you've got a young girl over here, is her name Susan? Susie, got blonde hair, so one of your friends has been taken ill. Her friend's been taken ill, so Susie with blonde hair, your friend's been taken ill. So what we want to talk about, let's talk about the religion of peace. I don't know where to get this religion of peace from. It must be out of a cartoon book somewhere. Because for a religion of peace, during this 1400 years of this so-called religion of peace, yeah, there's only been 12 decades where there hasn't been jihad. 120 years out of 1400. And they've been butchering and slaughtering for the other 1300 years. They've murdered 60 million Christians in 1400 years. They've murdered 10 million Buddhists. They've murdered 80 million Hindus. And they've murdered 120 million Africans. Oh yeah, that's a religion of peace. Does that sound like a religion of peace? No! It doesn't sound like a religion of peace to me. That sounds like a cult, a bloodthirsty cult that's hell-bent on murder. Yeah. Now, the reason that we were told we couldn't come in here today was because of the religion of peace. Because of the members of the religion of peace. From the reaction from the Islamic community. The police, the judge, in the court yesterday, the judge even told us the threat of violence is not from the English Defence League. It's not, it's on record. It's not from us. It's from the local community and the counter-protesters. But yet they put restrictions on us. Now this is outrageous, and we were so angry about this ourselves, because like Tommy says, this isn't just an attack on the English Defence League. This is an attack on democracy, on freedom of speech. This is an attack on the rich, on the middle class, on the working class. It doesn't matter whether you're protesting against Islam, or protesting against fox hunting, or protesting against fracking. Your rights have been rescinded and are being attacked. And if we don't stand up and fight now, we're finished. And we've got a few lads in here collecting with buckets. If they could just make their way out the front, the lads with the buckets. So, what we're saying is, they're rescinding our democracies. They're removing our democracies from British soil. We're all British citizens. Let's have a shout from all the lads and lasses from the north. We've got the north-east, we've got the north-west. Let's have a shout from the Midlands. God bless you. Let's have a shout. Let's have a shout from the south-west. South-east. East Anglia. We've got the French lads here today. We've got the SDL, the Scottish Defence League. We've got the German Defence League. We've got the Welsh Defence League. We've got the French with us today. We've got the American Defence League. We've got the gay and lesbian division. Look at these. God bless them. Give them a big round of applause. And God help me, I went went to school, but what flag is that? It's a what? Is that the new Lincolnshire flag?
It is, yes.
Big up Lincolnshire! So we've got people from all over the United Kingdom. And look at this, Star David, it's the Israeli flag. God bless him. God bless them. We support Israel in their fight against extremist Muslims, extremist Islam, trying to murder and slaughter them. Now, what we've got to think about is what they're trying to do to us, folks. I woke up this morning and the first thing I saw on the television, the first thing, I put on Sky News and I saw a Union Jack burning. It was the first thing I saw. And my blood just boiled because it was the Argentinians. They were burning the Union Jack. In Buenos Aires, they were burning the Union Jack. Then they got an effigy of our Queen. Queen Elizabeth, they got a life-size effigy of our Queen. Carroll, and they burned it. They burned our Queen in the streets of Buenos Aires. Then they got a Union Jack and draped it over a pig and marched it up and down the high street in Buenos Aires. Well, the reason they've done this is because they've got the proper ump that we've got the Falklands. Well, I've got news for you, Argentina. We're keeping it. Brave British forces members sacrificed their lives and horrible, horrific injuries in protecting the British people on the Falkland Islands. And they think, for a heartbeat, that we're just going to hand it over because they've got the ump. It's never going to happen. No. The Falkland Islands is British. And it will stay that way. And so will Gibraltar. It's British. Our soldiers, our troops, our soldiers and troops, they fought hard and long and laid down their lives to make them British and to keep them British, and that's the way they're going to stay. But we have weak jellyfish politicians like David Cameron, spineless, absolutely spineless cretins. David Cameron, Ed Miliband, they are all spineless cretins. They are all from the same school of cowardice. None of them could kick snow off a rope. And yet, they are prepared to hand over what our soldiers have fought and died for, to gain political gain. It's not going to happen. Now what's sickening, what's absolutely sickening, in Syria, our soldiers were in Afghanistan fighting against Taliban and Al-Qaeda and dying and coming back every week with horrific injuries and in body bags. British soldiers fighting Taliban and Al-Qaeda. Now David Cameron, in all his wisdom, sucking up to Obama, he's got his head so far up Obama's backside, he can't see the light of day. Now in all his wisdom, then he's trying to tell all of us, the British public, he wants to send our troops into Syria and our planes and jets to bomb Assad, who's fighting Taliban and Al-Qaeda. So he's asking us to support the British troops and bombers bombing on the behalf of Al-Qaeda. How messed up and how confused is that? Imagine British soldiers coming home from Syria fighting side by side with Al-Qaeda. And yet in Afghanistan, across the border, they're murdering our soldiers. They're blowing our soldiers up with IEDs. We couldn't make it out. Our politician, David Cameron, he suits his name, he is a moron. Right? David Cameron, that should be his name. Now, there's no way that we're going to send our troops, our fighting men and women, and our bombers into Syria to bomb Assad, who is fighting, he's doing exactly the same as us, fighting jihadist, extremist rebels. We're going to make out, it's never going to happen. We're not going to have any more body bags in the Middle East. The problem is, it's not sons and daughters that are getting sent over there, and their brothers. It's our brothers, it's our sisters, it's our lads here today, serving soldiers here today. Give them a big round of applause, folks, because there's a lot of serving soldiers here today that can't show their face. They're not allowed to show their face for fear of losing their pension. Yeah. So what we're saying is today, folks, is look, obviously somebody higher up has wanted it to kick off here today, so they could say to us, look at the EDL, look at the thugs, look at the violent EDL. We were right in putting restrictions on them. But no, they wasn't. They've attacked all our democratic freedoms. But what's happened is, we've come into Tower Hamlets, we haven't kicked off, the left and the Muslims have tried to get to us, but the police have stopped them. Because a lot of these police officers around you are ex-forces, boys and girls, yeah? So let's show them a bit of respect. They're probably pumped up. You know, they're expecting us to be hostile. Let's not be hostile. Let's do what they ask. Let's do what they ask us to do. It's not them, it's the people upstairs in the offices. It's the hierarchy. They're just boys and girls paying their mortgages and their bills, sending their kids to school the same as us. If you don't think that the police on the ground are not as pissed off as we are, you're kidding. They have to police Tower Hamlets. They have to deal with all the Sharia, with all the effects of the Muslim extremism, with all the FMG, with all the child grooming. They have to deal with the sharp end of it. So let's not give them our time. The other thing is, as far as democracy goes, what happened in the court yesterday, that's actually done, in the long game, that's actually done as a favour. Because what it's done, the judiciary and the Royal Courts of Justice has actually rubber stamped for the whole world to see the fact that Tower Hamlets is a no-go zone. They've actually stamped it. They've handed it to Mr. Rahman, the Mayor of Tower Hamlets. The British legal system has handed it to him on a silver platter.
Invasion without tanks!
They haven't fired a shot. Without a single shot fired, we have lost the borough of Tower Hamlets to Islam. Now, my argument is, if we want to go into Tower Hamlets and protest as our democratic rights are, and it should be ensured, then if the police, no fault of their own, cannot cope with the threat of the mob violence, then call out the troops! If you have to call out the troops to defend democracy and a democratic society, a Western society like the United Kingdom, if we are saying that we are prepared to hand over democracy to throw up the white flag of surrender, as far as democracy and freedom goes, if that's what we are saying, we cannot control the mob violence. Because you want to protest, we're too scared to deal with it. We cannot tackle the threat from the Muslim community. Then you call out the troops and you fix bayonets. If you have to, then you fix bayonets. And you point them towards Tower Hamlets. But the government, the British government, the politicians are so cowardly, they are so afraid, they are more worried about the backlash, the violent backlash from the mob in Tower Hamlets than preserving democracy, which our boys and girls are dying for, trying to implement and secure democracy in Afghanistan. So all the time, our soldiers are being murdered in Afghanistan trying to ensure and implement democracy, whilst here in the streets of their hometowns and cities, they're having that very democracy rescinded, taken away. We cannot allow that to happen. So all you brave people here today, God bless you, I love you, it gives me goosebumps. Unbelievable, I'm not kidding.